You ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Greatness Podcast, brought to you by Sky Insurance Brokers. My name is Eric Scholey, and always anchoring and leading this thing is...
Brie Milani.
And today, we have a special guest, someone that I've actually tried to get on the show for, 4 months now? We've had to reschedule once or twice because
scheduling
she is
conflict.
Extremely busy and successful, and we'll get into all of that. But Cailey Murschel.
Hello.
Premier Mortgage Resources. So very excited to have you on and learn a little bit more about you and hear your story in this industry. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I was bummed when we had to reschedule the first time. It just didn't end up working out. But I'm happy we stuck with it and we made this happen. So thank you so much.
I wasn't going to let you go. So I was like, yeah, I will track her down and I will get her at some point.
This was scheduled like over a month ago. I'm pretty sure.
Multiple months ago.
Yeah,
I
or
think
maybe
the beginning
multiple
Yeah,
months
I
ago.
scheduled. Yeah, we were like it was in November or something. We were originally going to do it, and you had a trip or some conflict came up, and then so I finally got it kind of like a month ago for today's
Yeah,
date. So
I've had it on my calendar for a while.
We'll make sure to make it happen, but with busy, successful people, you've got to work it into the schedule. So
Absolutely. Yep.
well, good. Well, I always like to start off by just doing an intro on yourself. So this could be anything you feel like sharing, just a little bit more about you, not so much professionally, but maybe even personally, things you like to do. Long walks on the beach.
I was going to say
favorite
it's
books.
like a
It's like a
dating
dating
profile.
website.
Yeah, exactly. So just let's get your dating profile, which would be great. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, anything you'd like to share? Just would love to hear more about you.
Okay, so I'm married. I have my husband and I live up in Auburn. We have a 1-year-old, which has been just a really, really cool adventure. Honestly, silver lining of COVID was all this freedom to work remotely and kind of work through that. It's been a really cool transition and created a lot of work-life balance kind of stuff. We're pretty involved in our community. We love Auburn. I've been there for about 8 years, and that's where I made my transition into mortgage. I spent many years in the service industry and bartending, serving, restaurant managing, and I think that's really what prompted my shift into something new.
Yeah, and you also obviously have the personality for sales and what you do. So
I feel like that's usually a good match. Like somebody who is in the restaurant industry getting into it. You hear it not very often, but you do. It's like you're constantly talking to people, and it translates very well into this industry.
Absolutely. Like sitting behind a bar, you're basically on display to people you've never met before all the time. And you kind of have to work into being relatable to anybody. It also creates a wonderful atmosphere for hustle.
Oh, yeah.
Because you really make nothing unless the people who you're waiting on and serving feel like you deserve it. Yeah. Gratuity is optional, so you really want to wow them and make sure you're on point and responsive. And there's a lot that goes into really that's still sales. Pretty much any industry,
Absolutely.
I think, is sales.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, talking to people, relating and connecting, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that was a huge COVID thing too. I know they've been talking a lot about is this purge of restaurant employees shifting into other careers that they felt were going to be more consistent, and mortgage and real estate is a big one.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm assuming you were in it far before COVID.
I was, yeah.
How long have you been in the industry?
I made the shift in 2017.
Okay.
Interesting. I was like kind of an in-house sales rep. Like I say I was Miyagi'd. It's kind of my funny, like outbound dialing, lead and database management, and all of those things kind of are the wax on and wax off of our industry. Yeah. Because if you can pull the trigger and become comfortable in that space, you ultimately have a career for the rest of however long you want one. Mm-hmm. Because when times get tough, look
Always
at your
go back to
database and
that,
pick up the phone.
Right.
And I had severe anxiety. I will tell you, just pressing the call every time, like I'm bothering people, and they're going to be mad at me. And then I started realizing like I'm calling to help.
Right.
And if they don't want my help, they'll just tell me they don't want it. But if they do, or they're open to talk, just keep them on the phone.
Yeah.
And create a rapport, which after bartending, I can do that.
Yeah.
So staying organized and making phone calls. And that's still pretty much
You did the
what I
tough
do.
stuff
Just a
right
little
off the
different.
bat. So you learned, hey, I can do the hardest part of this industry, so I'm good to go. Everything else is
Absolutely.
uphill downhill from here.
Well, especially because when I shifted, I was already in this position where I was looking for something new. Like I had decided I want to be on the other side of the bar. Like I felt like I had kind of hit the ceiling in my industry. Like I love being on the other side. Eric and I talk about this all the time. I love food and beverage. I'd say those are like my passions. And now it's more of a joy than a job because I always geeked out on it. So I was ready to make that shift, and I had been interviewing for other sales positions. I actually interviewed with Tesla like 3 or 4 times, thinking like, what do I want to do? I had a friend who had gotten involved in that company pretty early, and I was talking to one of my regulars that was coming in, and he was starting up his own mortgage company. And I said, it just didn't work out. I keep hearing from people like, what are you doing here? You could be so talented and successful doing something else. And I had been in the industry since I was 17, so I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I'm 30 years old. I've never done anything else. What if I fail? What if I'm not capable? What if I'm, So it was really a great jumping point. I put myself in a position to try something new, be broke for a while, because the shift, it's not a ton of money in the beginning,
Sure.
Right.
especially not getting paid hourly, making outbound phone calls. But it was totally worth it. For sure.
It clearly paid off. As we walked in, I'm like, top producer 2020. I'm like, look at that.
Yes,
That's
it's positioned
amazing.
perfectly behind her.
Yeah.
Her shelf
Rookie of the year.
very nice things. Yes, congratulations.
I'm like, you should see my 2021 numbers now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you gotten that plaque yet?
Yeah, I think it's out there somewhere on a wall.
We'll
But,
have to go look at it after.
yeah, but now's the real testament, right? Rates
Correct.
are going up. We don't have to go into all that yet, but there's going to be a serious shift in our industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In terms
Especially
of
in lending.
who rides it out,
Yeah. I've heard that. I actually was at lunch with one of my friends who's a loan officer, and she said that like the tough will survive right now because the last year, I think she was saying her husband is actually a loan officer and they are a team. And she's like, last year, I forget what he did, but
Probably
she's
a
like,
lot.
yeah, I think it was like 240 loans or something. And she's like, that's great and everything, but this year is going to be the true testament of what reality is because anybody who's refinanced already did it. And then on top of that, anybody who didn't refinance can't because the rates aren't what they were last year. So it'll be an interesting year to kind of see what happens. But I think the top of people will end up going up
Absolutely.
for sure. They'll rise to the top.
well, it's going to get back to being relationships, which most of us had to build in order to be successful in the beginning.
Right.
And then suddenly refis are falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
So, I was talking to my manager about that. And I said, if it does slow down, this is a great opportunity for me to re-engage with the partners that I had time for in the beginning that maybe I just got so busy I couldn't be at all those events. Maybe I could sponsor but not show up physically. And is it enough to be a great loan officer and be in the office and getting things pushed through quickly? Or is it better to be at coffees and, speaker events and, like stuff like that? Like you have to find a balance. And I think with that, you need to just find really great support.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially when you say you have a little one at home too. It's like you have to find that balance with work and then home and then what you should and shouldn't be doing and everything.
Absolutely. And then, not the mom guilt. It is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
But
Well, the dad guilt as well. Let's throw that on the
just
table.
credit the dads. But
Especially single dads, right?
As he's wearing like a Disney Band-Aid on his finger.
Oh, goodness. You did pick this up. I was actually laughing.
That's
Quick
great.
little story on this. I was in Costco last weekend,
oh,
and they finally got me the Cutco salesperson at the table. Come over and look at these knives. Come. And people started watching. They pull out leather strips, and I'm slicing right through. So very excited. I ended up buying a few knives.
yes.
Really pumped. I eat a lot of steak, chicken, so I was using them all week, just thinking these are the greatest thing ever. Telling my 13-year-old daughter, be careful with these. They're
Very
extremely sharp. I was washing hand washing because they're not going to go in the dishwasher yet.
Oh,
They're too
no.
young, so I'm hand washing them, and I sliced right through my nail and finger
Oh,
last night.
no.
So I thought I had it healed today. I wasn't wearing a Band-Aid. Well, the nails kind of split, so it caught on my jeans.
Oh, that's
So-
disgusting.
Of course, at the office,
Disgusting.
do we have a Band-Aid? Megan's the only one that had one,
Oh.
and it is
Does not surprise
Toy
me.
Story.
Oh,
Disney.
perfect.
That's Megan. She's,
So,
yep.
Yeah, so I'm rocking that. So.
I've spent a small fortune on Cutco knives.
I thought you were going to say Band-Aids.
Yeah,
Like,
so
same,
we're done.
same.
I love Band-Aids.
My
Toy
kid.
No,
Story.
Cutco's phenomenal. I always thought, oh, it's like an MLM that can't be that good. It's all fluff. And then everyone I talked to said they were one of the best
I've heard that. Yeah.
brand knives out there. I still avoided them, but then, like I said, the salesman got me there. He called me over,
Sucker.
walked into my eyes, looked into my soul, and got
He's
me
like,
to
"You
spend
want
some
every
money."
single one.
Exactly.
You'll never want to go back. I help friends at their houses, my parents at their house, and I'm like, but wait, where are your good knives?
Yeah.
And they just look at me like, well, this one's
are you
pretty
cut
sharp. And I'm just like, no, like I look for my block, my big ass block of knives.
Yeah.
And I
You
just
just-
always am like, this one, or those scissors, the shears, like
Yes.
I can't live without them.
That's hilarious.
It's amazing.
Yep, I have
I'm
those
not a
as well.
good cook, so I mean, I cook, but I'm not a good cook, so I don't have a good set of knives. Maybe
But if you
that's
had
my
one, it
next
might
investment.
change your world.
Yeah.
You might all of a sudden become
You
a
might
good,
also slice
you
your
might,
finger
you might
open.
think, I want to cut things. I'm going to learn to cook nice things to cut. So
Okay,
it just kind of works that
sold.
way.
I'm going to Costco after
Yeah,
this.
Cutco.
Yep.
Well, they also got me because it was like last week and final deal. It's probably still there. It's,
Probably.
you know, like the furniture stores
They
going out
are
of business
like,
every wait. You were just going out of business, and why are you having a new sale?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, then you start really hustling because if I think I got mine at the Peach Festival or the Mandarin Festival
It's a
or one of the
great festival.
festivals. Yeah, like on Sunday, end of the day. And I was like, well, if you throw in those utensils and maybe like,
got a deal.
and I just start really putting the pressure on and suddenly I have like boxes showing up. I was
Little
like,
did you know you were going to get like a jumbo knife set for free, but you talked yourself down to the
No,
utensils.
probably.
Wait,
If
I'll
I
give you
would-
the
The tongs.
utensils.
if
Yeah.
I wouldn't have voluntarily already paid for all of those,
Yes.
I probably would have. I was like, I'll take the kitchen.
Yeah, I want everything.
That's great.
Live in the
Well,
dream.
good. We went on a little tangent there.
I know.
We're not sponsored by
Which I'm
Cutco.
good at.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
has zero to do with this.
Maybe that's
but,
a missed
but
opportunity.
a nice thing, yes. We'll start.
Cutco
start doing a
salespeople
start
on the side.
sponsoring. Well, let's get back because thanks for sharing a little bit about your background, but I really want to talk and highlight a little bit more that transition into this industry.
Yeah.
So I know you touched on it a little bit, but walk me through kind of your mindset. And you mentioned that you were looking at a number of different industries, Tesla and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
What ultimately made you decide on this industry? Obviously, it was a good choice, but I'm just always curious when people, like you were saying, it was scary, right? And you had to
Terrifying.
sacrifice with less money, walking away from like tips from your regulars you were used to getting
Yeah.
at the restaurants and bars. So you obviously had to make some sacrifices and go into a completely unknown space. I'm always just curious on people's thought process behind that. Maybe your support from your husband, you can touch on that.
Sure.
Because it's usually a family decision. And just, what made you ultimately choose this industry?
I think this industry really chose me.
Ooh, that's good.
That's
It's
awesome.
the conversations that I had that led me there. It's people believing in what I had to offer for the industry and me thinking like, okay, I'll try to prove it to you that I am what you think I am because I didn't see it in myself. So the conversation that I had, I worked at like a restaurant called Carpe Vino, which is like 4-star and wonderful wine list and all of that. So I actually waited on a ton of people in mortgage and real estate that I didn't even realize did mortgage and real estate. I just figured, oh, they must be really successful. And I had that initial conversation with him that said, I don't know what I'm going to be good at or what I want to do, but if I can end up in an industry that values your time, because you're always looking for that magic, I don't want to say like do little for a lot of money, more like that really takes advantage of your skills and you can feel good reward from that.
Sure.
And he said, I think you could be really good at this. And something that everyone always mentioned to me was kind of just emotional intelligence and being relatable and just like emotional awareness with my clients. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, people, I love people. Easy. Like I enjoy conversations with everybody. So getting me on the phone, I think was a really smart step. I also have a passion for training. So I was always a trainer at every restaurant I worked at. So it kind of shifted me into beginning to excel at this portion of it, which was that outbound dialing and then the organization and being told like literally just you do XYZ every time you make a phone call, and it created really great habits. And so then we started bringing on more dialers and more partners, and I was
That was a risky move on the lender or the company you work for because
I was the third
call
employee.
reluctance is a big deal in all sales. I mean, like 99% of people are terrified. And usually the people are like, I love calling. There's usually
Something's
a
wrong
rare
with you.
breed or something might be wrong with them. Exactly. So they always say that
Something's not
the
right.
phone's always a 500-pound rock that everyone's afraid of. So to find someone that has all these attributes that they saw in you and to start you out there, they were really risking you either burning out or getting really turned off by this industry right off the bat. So that was a move that paid off for them, but a risky move, I'd just like to say.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I
obviously
do think
set you
they
up
saw
for
an end
success.
game. They were like, look, let's get you licensed. But in the meantime, we really need to see, we had brought in a big top producer that had a ton of database leads and opportunities. They gave me a script. They gave me a phone.
Oh,
I sat
wow.
in this tiny little office that was the broom closet. I called it Office 9 3/4. Like my little Harry Potter space, like, you know, my room under the stairs.
Little hobbit hole.
And yeah, I'd come out, I'm like,
I'm
you know, like
done for the day.
I leave.
Yeah, it was draining. I will tell you that a little part of me died, I think, in that little
Oh,
office.
yeah.
Fantastic.
I think most people say that about when you're in that type of position. It's like you burn out. Remember we interviewed Nick Lucia, and he's like, you burn out within 2 or 3 years. I think most people in
I
that.
lasted a year.
A year,
And
yeah.
I realized I couldn't stay. I'm not an in the office all day person.
Yeah.
It just, it really started to wear me down. And I think you could see every day I was up, I was there. And then by lunchtime, like opening the door and just feeling like,
My eyes
oh
hurt.
man, like I just, so that's when it all started to shift. And it was really kind of a like sink or swim moment. So I've actually never left and moved to another company. The company around me changed.
Yeah.
So I, started with, I think it was Next View Loans, and then it was Next View Mortgage, and then they joined PMR where I work today, but we were still a DBA, and
Oh,
then
wow.
the owners decided to go separate ways, and he took this name, and then we joined PMR, and then we ended up bringing on other team, and so everything around me has kind of evolved, and I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah, you've been here from day one. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which doesn't usually happen in this industry because
No.
usually you'll see people moving around quite a bit in this industry, getting back to the support and everything you were talking about, searching for that.
I have changed my email address and marketing enough times that like the pain that causes, I don't want to do that anymore. So I started that evolution where I finally got licensed, and it's a hard test. It took me a little while to get through it, which is really common,
Sure.
for a lot of
Yeah, I've
people.
heard that,
It's
yeah.
tough. I think some people's brains just click and get it. I don't think that was necessarily me. It was
Mm-hmm.
so foreign to anything I had ever done. And most of the people who become lenders maybe worked in banking.
Sure.
Or work,
Had that
and they
background.
have that background. They understand about compliance and different rules and regulations. And
You had none of
I
that.
had none of that background. So there was a serious learning curve. And I think that really shook my confidence big time. Like, I'm just not smart enough. I'm never going to
I
be
cut out for
successful.
this? Yeah.
What was I thinking? I should get a really secure job with a pension and,
Yeah.
and whatever. It was scary. So we were shifting into getting a new in-house lender, like a new bank. And they kind of decided, look, we can't keep everybody. We kind of need to trim the fat to look attractive. So you can either go back to what you were doing, which was dialing, and I had just become a loan officer assistant. I was in it for 6 weeks, and I was licensed, and I was all excited, and I kind of learned this tiny little nugget of 6 weeks of training. And then they go, you can either go back or you can become 100% commission and become your own LO.
Wow.
And I'm not moving backwards.
Yeah, no.
You
like, I'm
looked
not
to the
going back to
closet
Office
and went,
9
I can't
3/4.
go. I can't go back. I can't. My soul won't take it.
No way.
Right, exactly. So, I called my husband, super supportive. Like, every day I was in the office till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, trying to figure things out or build my business or whatever. Never a question. Get it done. We didn't have kids at that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's different. I have more flexible schedule, so I can leave and drop off and pick up and do a
Right.
lot of that stuff. So that's definitely changed my typical work schedule. But that was a big, scary shift. I said, okay, fine, let's do it. And luckily, a few relationships just fell into place. Like, it just, thanks.
Yeah.
I can't really take a whole lot of credit for it. It just, I went to coffee with a real estate agent who rents a space from a shopping center that my family owns
Oh, wow.
out in the Wheatland area. And I went to Wheatland High School, and she has become one of my biggest real estate partners, one of my best friends.
Oh, that's amazing.
We've developed a whole online presence as a team. If you've seen Cailey and Kelly on Facebook, and we've done some TikToks, and we have our own Instagram page. And
That's awesome.
So we would bring in guest agents, and that really started the video portion of my business. And she approached me like, hey, I've got this other lender. he's really not interested in doing like videos or getting online. And I was just like, what do I have to lose?
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Why not? So
TikTok, sure.
yep, our first one was at an open house, and we just did like a little short thing and posted it. And then she listed a property for my parents, and we did a whole little video and talked about it. It ended up being my first transaction. I got a lead while I was at the open house for my parents' property, and I ended up getting that buyer. And it just spiraled, and that video got thousands of views, which was interesting because we really didn't have a presence at that time. I think that one still has done better than maybe any of our other videos.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
now I'm going to
Good.
look you guys up when I get home.
We're gonna transition. This is a perfect transition into. I want to talk about the evolution of and what you're doing now in this industry and kind of all the success. I've known you since you really started in the industry, so I've personally seen you grow. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, I really want to dive into all that and what you're marketing, because I think you do a really good job with that. So we'll take a quick break. All right, welcome back to the Greatness Podcast. We are here with Cailey Murschel of Premier Mortgage Resources.
Yep.
So having a great conversation of her really transition into the industry. And now I really want to talk about, the evolution of what you've become, because you are a top producer now, and you've done very well.
Yeah.
And really how you got there. I know you started to go into, and I would like to circle back on some of the marketing things you did, because I think you do a really good job as an outsider watching, seeing some of the things you produce and some of the ways you've teamed up and leveraged other relationships like realtors and insurance teams and things like that. You do a really good job of pulling people that are in like communities or like industries and really try to expand your market share and your reach. Touch on that a little bit, because I know you were talking about your relationship with the realtor, and you guys were doing, wasn't it a theme like in the kitchen or something like that? So and you guys would touch on different topics like weekly or monthly.
That kind of evolved because the first video we ever did was at an open house, and it happened to be in the kitchen. And it was Cailey and Kelly in the kitchen. We thought it was a great way to market listings, to highlight one of the most important parts of your home and what people really
the heart of the home.
The heart of the home. It's people walk in and go, wow, look at the kitchen.
Yeah.
Or man, I wish it had a different kitchen.
Yeah.
So there are times where we would do videos in other places.
Oh, those
that
are
maybe
Cutco knives on the counter.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
Let's circle back.
this house comes with Cutco knives.
So she had an office where she's got a pretty decent sized team, and she actually does an amazing job of keeping healthy and good relationships with the real estate agents in her area. I'd say the Yuba Sutter counties have some really amazing groups of women that really empower each other and work well together. Mm-hmm. So we were using our marketing to help boost their listings. Mm-hmm. And we would have them come in, give us the property specs. We also would try and make it fun, and we would do like a featured cocktail. And we would do kind of like a cheers. There's times where we've made stuff like a recipe. We've done, so it's not always just about homes or just about real estate. We've hosted a lot of videos where we brought in a designer for tile and kitchens when she was redoing her home. And so we did a before and after of the evolution of her own house.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's been really cool to engage and really create good relationships outside of real estate agents, because I'm sure if you're a real estate agent out there and you're tired of getting phone calls from lenders, it exists, right? Like we're kind of inundated with people trying to like beg for your business, because that is a huge source of what makes us successful are our relationships with them.
Right.
Yep.
So we started kind of leveraging that and creating good relationships with the other girls, and also boosting those listings, which back in 2017, 2018, 2019, it didn't really seem like we had this inventory shortage, this frenzy, homes. It is craziness. Mm-hmm. And it was helpful. People were like, oh yeah, I saw your video. I love that house. I've got all these scheduled showings, and things really started to shift, especially in my sphere of influence, which is the Wheatland, Marysville, Yuba City. And that's mostly because I went to high school there. It's where a lot of my family still lives. I would love to break into the Auburn area too, but it's just kind of like where I've thrived, and if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I mean,
why
obviously,
change
I
it?
would like to. I do loans all over.
Well, I
Not
think
just there.
California, Idaho, Montana.
Yeah. What you've done well is, I see a lot of people when they use social media or videos, they're selling all the time,
Yeah.
right? Buy me, here's our rates, here, da-da-da-da-da. And a lot of people do that, and maybe it works to an extent. But what I appreciate is yours is it's indirect by doing it. You do it kind of indirectly, because what you're doing is much like you were talking about is doing a recipe in a kitchen or making a drink.
Yeah.
You're showing people that can actually relate and see you creating an experience in that kitchen, and it's a whole different emotional viewing or emotional state than here's a panoramic of the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? You're actually seeing people joke, have fun, and now you can envision,
Right.
I could have my friends over there having a cocktail and
Or
all
like,
that.
how do I
and
get to
joke.
that? How can I own
Exactly. So I think you did
Right.
a really good job of doing that, and then obviously like your personality was able to come out more, and people are able to see like, hey, I want to work with her. Like that's someone I definitely could do business with, or I would love to do my loan. So that's all captured in there. So I think I just want to say you do a phenomenal job with that with the stuff you produce.
Well, let's remind ourselves that this is still a relationship industry.
Yeah.
Like we can talk rate, we can talk about fees, we can talk about all of that stuff. But for compliance issues, you really don't want to put a lot of information like that into all of your videos. Unfortunately, we have to stay somewhat vague because there is no scenario that everybody fits in.
Plus, everything's changing so quickly. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you
After
could produce a
COVID?
video, post it, and
Yeah.
a day later, oh, sorry, that's not
Irrelevant.
valid anymore.
Yeah.
Those rates don't matter.
And
you know.
you can't market a rate you can't provide.
Correct.
Right.
So what happens if I put that out there, somebody watches it a year from now and it's no longer available
So you're
or
throwing
whatever.
2% out right now. That wouldn't be a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, get the phone ringing though, right?
My main thing whenever I'm doing my videos is to educate people.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when it's content they can understand. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I have the boring job. I have the numbers, okay, insurance.
We're
that's a close
insurance. I mean, come
second.
on. We're like, you're talking about realtors to lenders, and then it goes this next steps to insurance, and we're always kind of the last stop. Hey, can we get this thrown
Yeah.
together? And with now throwing the high fire just creates this whole other
Oh,
animal
yes.
with these hard to place homes. But
Yeah.
we are definitely the boring job.
Yes, and I wouldn't want to watch a video about market updates.
Yeah.
Like Borophyll. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like I blacked out. What did he say?
Yeah, where am I?
Like or sitting and talking about economics and we had a torta bubble or a crash or and I honestly don't even enjoy that type of content.
No.
So
Yeah,
keep
me
it
too.
short, keep it sweet, and get to the point. And that's really something I've tried to focus on. I don't always have to do an intro and an outro. I don't always have to say, that's more of a filler, if anything. I don't like to say you guys. Hey, you guys. Like, just get to the point.
Yeah.
Be like, what are you trying to talk about? Like that.
I think I've said, hey, hey guys.
When you said I did it in the Goonies voice, I'm sorry. That's why I started chuckling. Yeah, like Baby Ruth or whatever. Sorry,
That's
I got
probably my
sidetracked.
favorite part.
Yes,
Where he gets hit
that's
in
a
the
great one.
forehead.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, you don't know that? Oh, hey, you guys. And he's
No.
like, I can't believe I just did that. But
oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Sorry, guys.
Can't take it back.
Wow, I'm gonna send you a clip of that.
Oh,
And
gosh.
then you're gonna love it. Then you'll know why I was laughing in my head.
Okay. I was like, huh? What's so funny?
So we the marketing piece has been really cool, and I think it's inspired other lenders to do things like that. I've had conversations with other lenders that go, I really like your videos, and like, who does that for you, or what? Honestly, I make up a lot. I do it on the fly because
Yeah.
you have
It's the
to
best
come
way
up.
to do it.
Well, it's most natural looking.
It's the most natural
Organic
looking,
looking.
but creating content like that day. Our young photo guy, he gets here, and I'm just like, give me like 20 minutes. Like, I just got to think. I tried to think back about something that happened to me in the last week that one I probably could have been educated on, or tried to help educate someone else, which means that's a question that needs to be answered, or even point it right back at my clients. Like, hey, are you doing the right things as a borrower? Maybe don't do this or that, or small little nuggets of information about programs. We really want it to be 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And if you look and read guidelines and content, if you start going down those really granular details, you could be talking about any specific program for a very long
Sure.
time.
Yeah. And nobody wants to listen to that. It goes in one ear, not the other for a lot of
Absolutely,
people.
because it's an industry and a jargon they don't understand.
Yep.
Like, if you're the industry expert, you can't talk to people like they're the industry expert.
Right.
Because that's why they're talking to you. They want to
Exactly.
trust you.
Yep.
So that's been a big a big part of the marketing. And at the end of the day, like if it gets you seen by more people and they keep you top of mind because you popped up in their feed, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always a goal, especially like after when COVID happened. Is like that's when I saw a lot of people kind of shift to that videos and doing things like that. But you're right, a lot of people would just go in and talk about things that it's like, okay, get to the point. You know, these hour-long videos, nobody's gonna watch them.
No, I don't even watch videos I enjoy if there's ads.
Yeah.
I'm like, ad next.
Next,
Like, not interested anymore.
Yeah, that's why they're saying like TikTok is like the craze because you think it's 30 seconds, maybe a minute of just something you want to see in it. And then you're like, okay, on to the next thing. And so you see a lot of people starting to do.
Short attention spans.
Yeah, sure, because we all have really short attention spans now.
Absolutely.
So I see a lot of people doing, like you said, those 30, 45-second videos and people will watch them and then it's like on to the next thing. So I think it's smart. Now I'm going to go look it up because like I said, I've never met you. I mean, I know we're friends on Facebook.
You'll like
now I'm going to go look it up.
You should. I actually had a bit of a hacking on my business account, which I still have a ticket out open. So I've lost a lot of the videos that I've done in the past, but I started posting more on my personal page because I have a lot more friends that way.
Good.
And then
you
of
reach
course,
more people that way, I feel like, too. More organic.
It's absolutely. And I know that Facebook, I guess, according to the kids these days, is
the kids
like not cool. So it's more of like a
It's where all the old people hang out.
it's more of a business platform.
It's like the
which
Sun
makes
City
sense.
of social media.
Great.
And I love it there. It's just bad.
You're all yes girls, and that is where I hang out most of the time.
You'll find me on Facebook.
Indeed, looking at all of our friends' children and growing families and all of that stuff.
I would say most of the people I went to high school with, and Instagram, but it's kind of between the two. It's like you see a lot of it on Facebook and Instagram. But I think Facebook to me is more business. Like I do have a lot more people versus Instagram is more personal. So
totally
I can see that.
Which it's a reminder all the time that I need to pay more attention to my Instagram because I post videos and stuff and we post content, but I kind of forget to be personal on it because we do, my company provides a lot of this. So, I have to give a huge shout out to Premier and to my branch and to my boss. Not a lot of offices and companies are as supportive for your marketing. Like if there are any lenders out there who do not feel supported by what they have within their company in terms of like lead generation or database management, or like they provide this for us. And if you don't use it, shame on you. Because we truly have all of the tools. Like when I get recruitment calls, they're like, wait, what's the name of your company again? Maybe I should work for you guys. Like, because I just shut them down. I'm like, no, tell me what you can do different because I have all of this. And there's typically nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so I'm like, okay, well, have a good day.
Yeah.
I appreciate the
It's
call.
an easy way to.
Flattered. Yeah, exactly. Something changes, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But I actually recently did a video about this that was like, look, COVID happened. People shifted from things like restaurants into mortgage or real estate. And if you ended up in a company that you're not feeling supports your education, who you want to be as a lender, supports your business, offers you marketing materials, like I can email our marketing department with some logos and headshots and they create flyers and I don't even have to go in and create this
that is
stuff.
Nice. Huge value add.
Huge, and they're quick.
Yeah.
And so you're not waiting days to get a response. They put packets together, slideshows, PowerPoints with your branding, it's really cool. And I don't think a lot of them do that. They're like, here you go, here's a desk, good luck.
Yeah.
Sink or swim.
Yeah. Yep. So like I said, if you have the option to use it and you don't for whatever reason, insecurity, it's kind of a shame on you.
Yeah. And clearly you've shown in the last, 5-6 years that you can be successful by using all of that. So that's awesome.
I can't believe it's been 5 years.
I was like trying to do the math.
Been fast,
really quick.
that was good math. That's very quick.
Keep calling myself new. Like
You're
when
not
I'm
new.
new to this industry, and then I'm like, I'm really not
No.
anymore.
I think once you hit like 5 years, 3 to 5 years, I think you're good.
In mortgage, I'd say 3 years.
3, yeah.
It's
3's
just
probably.
pretty weathered and veteran at that
Yeah.
point, sure.
Especially through what you guys have gone through the last 2 years of it.
It's worth 1 year's
Yeah.
worth 3 years
Yeah.
in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You're not new anymore.
So also, will you touch on, because it's actually something you asked right before we started recording, because I know there's different models, like the broker model, and same with insurance, there's different models, but I know on the lender side, like direct lending and bank lending or broker model. Can you touch on what Premier Mortgage Resources is and kind of why you enjoy it or why you find value in it and why it's a positive for you?
Yeah. I think it starts, I can talk about the banking piece, but I think it starts with company culture. we really have just an amazing group of people, and we're only interested in hiring good people. And
Are you talking about corporate wide or here locally? Both.
all?
Okay.
All. When we get on our weekly company meetings, the CEO, Corey Swain, and his wife, Mandy Feely, like, when you get to interact with them and they come to every single branch and do business planning with every branch
nice.
Wow, that's
in
awesome.
person, they're really inspired by what they do, and they're only interested in hiring good people. We want to create really good culture here. So we are a direct lender, and that means that we do fund our loans in-house.
Sure.
There are a lot of broker models that are kind of the rage right now, and you probably wonder, like, well, why not go that route if you can, because you broker insurance,
Correct.
right? So it gives you an opportunity to look at a bunch of different companies and kind of shop and do that, which is great.
I'd say there's pros and cons to every model. So
Right.
not
Totally.
everyone kind of fits a different reason. Also, the style of the person, like on the insurance, it fits the style, the way we market or do things.
Yeah.
But I know captive companies that are
They do
phenomenal,
amazing, yeah.
and their agents are phenomenal, and it fits their model well. So
Right.
not to step up, I'm assuming that's the same for the mortgage side too.
So I love that we create relationships here and rapport. So what I've realized in mortgage is creating expectations with your clients, because my agents are my clients too. And the listing agent is also my client. I call them anytime the buyer's agent lets me know, hey, I submitted this offer, this is the agent, this is their number, can you call them? Absolutely. I would love to call and boast about our mutual client. So I give them a call, and I create expectations across the board. When we submit a contract at a certain amount of days of escrow, I hate missing my close of escrow. Now, if we do, it's usually an external issue. It's an appraisal or solar or, things that aren't necessarily internal.
Or insurance.
Or insurance. That's
Better
never
not be.
happens. So I think that being a direct lender and continuing to be able to contact underwriting directly and be a problem solver. The company that we were with before Premier, it seemed like a real company of no. Like we had just had a bunch of Karens throwing up red flags everywhere, and I just, even though you do, I love your Karen.
That's why
Our
you
Karen
laugh.
is not a Karen.
No, she is not a Karen. But
That's
you know
what
I
she.
mean.
But she's like, I hate that term.
Yeah.
It would suck to be a Karen right now.
Yes.
Yeah, there would be.
But we did. It was, I just remember, and at this point I was still doing the dialing and stuff, and I was just like, man, like, it seems really tough. Everybody's always frustrated. And it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like suddenly we were working together to have a common goal of closing loans. And what does Fannie Mae require? What can we document? Let's get the right stuff. Instead of just saying, no.
Yeah.
It was like, hang on, let me give you a call and let's talk about your borrower. And that was a game changer for me. And then having conversations with those underwriters helped me grow and understand what a condition is and what do we need to do to solve it. Because when you have a production manager, they really field a lot of those phone calls, and I just kind of go, why are you calling me? I don't know, and that's a really uncomfortable place to be in. It makes you feel like you're not educated on your file.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to be you. You want to be respected on all levels in the company, especially if you're a top producer. You don't want to throw all these numbers out and feel like you're in the dark.
Right.
So the broker model for me, I have brokered a few loans, and if there are loan types and programs that we don't offer here at Premier, we are allowed to
Okay, yeah.
broker certain loans,
That's awesome.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
They really don't want
So you
to.
kinda get the best of
They
both
don't want to
worlds.
shut us down. Like we want to close loans, do deals. So when I get recruited by brokers, they go, I want you to get into this model. Like we can, it's so easy. You just put a packet together and send it off and your rep. And I just go, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Because every time I've done that, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I don't have direct contact where I can't just take something to second level review and have them double check it for me. They go, nope, if it's not a full file and I need XYZ. So yeah, maybe they can get something closed in 10 days, but that's really rare. And we have really competitive pricing. So when you're looking at maybe having the lowest rate or the lowest fees, they're probably not your client.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, not to say that we have high fees or high rates. It's just, if that's all they want, they're going to go to some online no brick and mortar, non-local, that they're just looking for the cheapest, but you're going to get that in service.
Oh yeah, we deal with
And-
that on our end
Let's say
too.
you sound like us. I mean, we have the same motto as well at our company. So
It's tough because you'll
we
get
deal
the
with that.
people who go online and get a quote and they're like, well, it's $200 cheaper. And it's like, okay, well, like there's a reason why it's cheaper.
We'll
Let's look.
perform a claim, and if you have to change anything, you're going to be talking to someone that can't speak English in another country that knows nothing about your file or how to process.
Right.
And you're going to be stuck on hold for 2 hours. Is that
Right.
worth your time, or do you want to pay $7 more a month and you could text us or come see us at our office and we'll get it done right away? So,
Absolutely. It's like, but where do you want to shop?
Yeah.
Like I want
Yeah.
to shop at Nordstrom.
Right.
Because the service is amazing and they take anything back. Like,
Right.
you know, it's
Costco, Cutco. nice.
Yeah, yes.
Here we go
Shopping.
again.
Here
There
we
you
go.
go. See, it's all back to an experience and it being that matters to me. It's not going to matter to everybody. There's always
But then you
gonna
don't need
be
to
that.
work with all the people that that it doesn't matter
There's
to.
something very empowering about
Absolutely.
firing somebody. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't done it very often, like maybe twice, but it's just knowing when it's time to let go
Yeah.
and just be like, look, I don't think this is a good fit, and I'm okay with saying that. So
Yeah.
good luck. I mean, it makes me nervous and shake just thinking about it because I'm such a pleaser. But there is a time where you're like, okay, the money isn't worth it. I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of the good lenders do that.
Yeah, no, it's good.
You should
It's
feel
good
empowered to do
Yeah.
that.
Know your client type.
Especially when it's not your client type. That's huge.
Right. Well, they're not loyal to me
Correct.
at all.
They're shopping you around like crazy. Yeah.
And they're sending me screenshots, and you can tell like the APRs are crazy, but the rate's super low. I'm like, well, this means, I send it back with like highlights and circles, and
I'll
I'm
keep
like,
going forward with that. Let me know how it goes.
right. But if I don't have any commitment from you, you're wasting my time,
Yeah.
and you're wasting the time of my staff. And we've already ordered an appraisal, and we're in escrow, and we're like, click, tick, 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 tick. Like if you are shopping around and this is the only thing that's important to you, like please. Good luck.
Move
If you
forward,
have
yeah.
questions, you can call me. Like I don't ever want to burn any bridges, but we have to call a spade a spade.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Very true.
So I know you've been a leader for the last couple of years, a top
Yeah.
leader in her company. And I know this year, she just recently posted this on social media, so that's how I know, but I thought it was very unique and very well done by your company. It's in Nashville this year, right?
Oh my gosh.
So the way they
so
awarded
excited.
everyone,
Oh, yeah,
explain
I
what
saw
they
that.
did, explain how they awarded, or what they sent you to kind of, for the invite, I guess, invitation.
Yeah. So we when you earned the trip, they made the announcement, hey, it's going to be in Nashville, and you fill out a quick survey because usually they'll give you a little bit of swag or something like that. They've never sent us anything in the mail before, but I think we really wanted it to be in, what did I say, like the lower 49, because people were getting nervous about
Sure.
COVID and traveling. And so they did some looking around, decided Nashville was going to be the best spot. So
Fantastic
they had
spot.
asked us what our shoe size was. And I was like, that's random, because we're all trying to guess,
What
right?
is it
I'm
gonna
like,
be?
Florida. We almost always go somewhere tropical.
Oh, so they asked
you
the
know?
shoe size. You didn't know where it was.
No,
Oh, okay,
like
that's very neat.
initially, and then they announced Nashville, and by that time you kind of forgot that they even asked what your shoe size was. And I got a package with a pair of boots, a pair of like Ariat boots in my size.
wow.
Cowboy/cowgirl boots, right?
That's
I don't know what
awesome.
the term
Right,
is,
they're
but
like a
yeah.
taller, clearly like a cowgirl boot, and a pair of boots, and a bottle of bourbon, a bullet, and 2 PMR like lowball glasses.
That's
With just
awesome.
like a thank
Love it.
you. And my husband was like, "Wait a minute, where are my boots?" Like,
Yeah.
was
Do I
like,
get to
"There-"
go?
He does get to go.
Oh, he does?
But they
How
didn't
cool.
send boots all this
So do you have to
fast.
buy
Yeah.
him some boots?
Oh, he has funny boots. I literally just bought him a pair of boots, and they have like American flags on the side and all
Yeah.
sorts of. I'm
They're
like,
like,
"You're
He's
You're
locked and
sick.
loaded. He's ready to roll.
yeah."
How fun.
That is fantastic. I
Can't
love
wait to
it.
see those pictures.
Yeah.
I'm like, what kind of culture though? Like
Yeah.
they were like, look, one of the events they scheduled was line dancing, and I think they really wanted to make sure everybody went to Nashville ready to be in Nashville and
Nashville.
Have an
kind of like
experience, yeah.
fit it out, So
How fun.
it was
When
it's
do
a
you
lot
go?
of
Soon?
fun. The middle of May.
Oh, how exciting.
Yep, and we're
Looks
staying at
good.
one of those resorts that's Gaylord.
Yeah.
Something that they're
Yeah.
all around the country. It's
Oh, wow.
crazy
It's
impressive.
right next to the Grand Ole Opry.
It is.
Actually has a water
I
slide
think
park
it's called
inside
like
and
the
everything.
Gaylord Opry something
Yeah.
something. I should know this, but it's escaping me at the moment.
Eric's like, yep,
I've been
there.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be there in October
Oh, nice.
for an insurance meeting thing.
An insurance meeting.
He went to Tampa, and I said the same
It was the
thing.
same. So it's this year's in Nashville. So it's that same one. It's one that was in Tampa last year. Is now in Nashville this year. And I know they actually rented out like the Grand Ole Opry one night for
Oh,
all of us. So we're
cool.
gonna go in there and watch the show, and it's gonna
That's
be fun.
gonna be awesome.
It's so awesome. The Saturday is a concert, and I talked to my husband about that. I was like, we could get tickets. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think the music's
go.
going to be bad.
Yeah,
like,
it can't be
everybody,
bad.
Exactly.
Have you ever been?
No, I've never
Oh.
been to Tennessee.
Oh gosh.
So fun.
So this
Oh.
is
It's gorgeous.
I almost didn't
New.
survive the downtown area with all the
That's how I felt about Tampa.
because they have like bars that are like 4 or 5 stories, and every story they have a band on every story in the same bar.
Oh, jeez.
So it's like they'll have like 4 or 5 bands
fun,
performing,
though.
including the rooftop, at the same bar, but they're all different, and it's just crazy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see pictures.
Yes.
Well, I'm terrible about posting pictures. I said we're talking about all this marketing, but when it comes to my own personal stuff, I would say I'm a little bit lacking in some of my posting. I always say like, too busy having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a good thing.
It's good.
So I should though. I will. I credit my husband. He takes the pictures and has not a single social media platform.
You're
Smart.
like, send him to me.
Yep. So we airdrop, and then I'll pick and choose which ones that I want to post.
Nice.
But he's
It's like
the
your
cameraman
entourage.
for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
That's good. Good combo.
It's a good combo for sure.
So I know right now we're in just an absolutely crazy market. It seems
Yeah.
like houses still sell within 24 hours with 75 offers, 200,000 over asking price. I know, and you could confirm this, but I know there's a lot of people that have pre-qualified buyers that just can't buy a house because they can't win a bid, basically. So we're still in this really unique marketplace.
Yeah.
We're seeing rates jump up a decent amount over the last 4 or 5 months.
Oh my gosh.
I know they've talked about possible continue rate hikes over the next 6 to 12 months. Usually when that happens, you'll see a housing market cool off, which doesn't seem like it's happening or is going to happen in ours. So it's just a really unique time. And then obviously throw in the whole global situation right now, what's going on in the world,
Yeah.
both from the economy standpoint and war standpoint, I guess we'll call it. But so how do you see the current market? How are you kind of navigating, and where do you see this year really transpiring?
So yes, rates pretty unpredictable. So not to get into like a ton of jargon, but what we're seeing is in the past. So basically, the federal government was really regulating, those mortgage-backed securities, and they were buying, which was keeping rates really, really low. Well, this thing called inflation happens, right?
It's a fun little thing.
It's a fun thing. Like, you just can't print a bunch of money. So they were really supporting not having people re-enter the workplace, and they were supplementing incomes and doing a bunch of stuff. So that happens, and now they're going to start selling these mortgage-backed securities, but really, like, nobody's buying them. So, you fall into this trend where they're like, okay, well, we're going to raise rates, and the bank rate is going, and we're hoping that this is going to counteract this inflation issue that we have. So they just had one rate hike of a quarter that just happened last week. And then they are talking about 6 more this year.
Oh my gosh.
And I really think but that number changes. There's always a conversation, or someone will come out and Powell will say this, and suddenly everybody will freak out and the stock market will shut down or whatever. And then everything kind of mellows out. So I feel like inventory is going to keep the market competitive. Number one. So regardless, and what it's going to do with rates going up is you're going to really price a lot of people out. The people that were approved at a certain amount, suddenly they're not approved at that amount anymore, but the home value is still increasing. So with that, it's going to become a little bit slower, a little bit more mellow, because the affordability is gone.
Yeah.
And they're just not going to be able to compete at that higher purchase price,
A nice little
which is unfortunate.
relaxation of the market might not be a bad thing for how
Right.
crazy it's been for everyone, and affordability and all that.
Yeah, which is why I think this industry is going, it's going to get to that point where you do sink or swim, because when refinances, for the most, they're not going to go out the window. There's always going to be somebody who's looking to tap into some equity, or maybe remove mortgage insurance, or do something like that, there's still benefit even with a slightly higher rate. So we're still going to have that client, but with the low inventory and maybe a lot of your previously pre-approved people getting priced out, you're not going to see the pull through that you did before. It is just going to slow, and you're going to have a lot of work and put in a lot of extra time that goes kind of nowhere. Have a lot of conversations and pre-approve a lot of people that just go, well, hopefully something comes on the market in your price range. Right. You're never going to tell somebody, no, I can't approve you because you don't have a chance. That would be discrimination. Like, you're going to do all the steps. You're going to talk to them about credit. You're going to, pull all the documents. You're going to sit them in through underwriting, and you're going to stay in contact with their agent and just keep your fingers crossed that something shifts. And in the meantime, just keep doing that. What do they say? Fill the funnel. Yeah. You just keep bringing in the leads and hope everything comes out on the other side.
And I know with you it will. So I know it's going to be a wild ride.
So
we'll close it up. We'll close it up on that. So I know this has been a great time. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yes, you're amazing.
It's been a pleasure to obviously know you for the last 5-6 years and see your journey into really a star now. I mean, you're a top producer annually. So congratulations, all that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone looking for just a phenomenal lender and someone that can really kind of take you through all situations, I highly endorse Cailey. I mean, she's fantastic, and I've seen her firsthand. She takes very good care of her clients, and I know they all love her. I hear nothing but great things. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Great
really
job.
Appreciate everything. And everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you for listening.